It's hi again. Good morning. It's me, Melik Khachiyan, and I'm back. And today's lecture still will be from my recent tournaments. And I played the game against one of the best girls, one of the best women in the nation, Tatev Abrahamyan. And we played at Chicago Open in May 2010. And the game is interesting because there's many basic concepts, especially positional concepts. And today will be more about positional thinking, structural thinking, I would say, because we will deal with pawn chains, we will deal with bad and good pieces, all this stuff. So I had the white pieces, and I played a game, round 2 against Tatev Abrahamyan. So knight f3. When I prepared for the game, I have respect for my opponent to play King's Indian defense because I thought my opponent, she never actually played King Indian defense and she wasn't say familiar with that. But in fact, after the game, when I spoke with her, I figured out she actually been studied King Indian defense for a while. So that means she knew the ideas. So yeah, we played one of the main lines and knight c6. Well, this is like a new way to play against Fianchet of King's Indian. So the idea behind of knight c6, it's basically providing two plans for black. Plan A, I would say, it's preparing b5 move, and plan B, at some point, you're trying to play e5. So again, e5 is not exactly the threat, but it's a possible way to play. And while I was thinking here, I was trying to understand how is she familiar with all these tricks, all this detail. And I picked the move d5. Basically, the idea of playing d5, it's pretty much stopping e5, killing the route for the knight to go on e7, and also basically asking her what she's going to do. And she actually picked the right move. She did the knight a5, which is okay. I actually did that myself also a few times when I played the same position as a black. So knight a5. Another possibility you could try, I'll go back on b8, which is still okay, and then thinking about maybe to play still a5. Pretty much transport the game to the very rare type of King's Indian. But knight a5 still remain as the best. So knight fd2. I would say this is also forced from my point of view. Why it's forced? Because what's happening here, since Tatev went here knight a5, my plan become clear. I have to play against this bad piece. Taras used to say, if one piece stands worse, then the whole game stands worse. So since happening knight a5 move, my strategy for the game was very simple, making sure the guy on a5 will not return to the game, or will return as long as possible, as late as possible. So my strategy to make sure I build up a nice center and kind of restrict the knight on a5. So that means this guy will come here, that means this guy will get here to make sure I will control b5 square. I will play e4 and my deck will be extended and I'll be absolutely fine in this point. So knight fd2 for me, it's very obligated. And in fact, I'm still hoping maybe to play b4 at some point. So c5 from her side, it's fine. I think it's okay, I think it's absolutely playable, and I think it's the right move to do because to control b4 square, to make sure this guy is secure, and it's okay. So knight c3, a6, it's all logical moves. For c2. Yes, I need to play that move because I was trying to play b3 and make sure this guy is protected against this guy. So queen c2, it's not necessarily move. Rook b8. So far we're playing all logical moves, black trying to play b5, white trying to develop the pieces, trying to secure the center. Now, second piece here of advice from my side, I always taught my students in these situations, similar situations, don't ever play e4 because don't give up b4 square, simple. Because if you're trying to protect b5 square, b5 move, make sure b5 is not going to happen. But giving up b4 square, I think it's too much price for that. So that's why I believe a4 is a weak move in this point. Giving up b4 square at some point, b3 square, I think it's too much. That's why I always prefer not to play here a4. I play b3. I build up this chain. Another advice here, I always teach again. So my opinion, if chain is strong, chain is strong. I mean, if chain is long, chain is strong. That's why I have 4 members here. So I have pretty much healthy chain in this point. b5. So far, it's a logical move. Again, I have to put the guy against this guy, making sure d7 bishop not doing a terrible job against me. a5. So yeah, that's the move. I would say I expected and I didn't expect it. So it's kind of a 50-50 situation, because you know, sometimes I thought maybe black should try to play here a6, but I think it's a5 still. When I'm looking back with my game, I think a5 is actually a great idea, because what black trying to do, they're trying to provoke white to take. If I don't take, then they have a nice center here, right? And they try to switch, let's say, switch the game to attack my king side. It's funny, but the picture of position, it should remind you guys some picture from Ruy Lopez, because it's very similar. If you look at the Chigono system at Ruy Lopez, there's also sometimes not on a5 stuck, and usually rook for the knight, it goes b7, d8, then f7 pawn usually goes on f6. This guy comes here. This guy usually goes here. In fact, g7 bishop at that in Ruy Lopez typically stands on e7. So from e8 knight, it goes on g7, and we're preparing f6, f5. So that's why my first tutor, Tigran Petrosian, he taught us there is 2 openings must be simply applied in your repertoire to understand chess better. It's King's Indian Defense and Ruy Lopez, because they are very rich and they are very. They have everything. They have everything. They have it. You know, some of the lines, let's say boring. They're very positional. Some of the lines is very sharp. So that's why if you are playing these openings, believe me, you will handle pretty much any opening, because it will teach you a lot. So this is remind me again, as I said, Ruy Lopez ideas. e5, rook b1. Well, you know what? It's a stainless, because you can't think about anything else before you didn't fix your problem on one side. So obviously, I knew at some point maybe black would consider to take on c4, and I want to make sure I can fight back for b5, h5. That's a very interesting move, and I think I would say this is very important, because black trying to strike with h4. Usually against this formation, attacking like f5, f4, it's a terrible, because I'm so strong on the king side, and I will get some light squares, and I'm going to basically like kill you positionally. That's why usually plans at this point, it's actually strike with h pawn to create some pressure, and then jump and try to, let's say, mate maybe, if possible. So that's the usual plan here. e4, well, I have to play e4 anyway, because to make sure I have a strong center and kind of, you know, building up my situation in the center. h4, and that was my plan. Now, my plan here, it's very simple. It's not simple maybe for you guys, but from my point of view, I knew my plan. Again, I can give you another piece of advice. Every time when you are in the middle game, especially when you are at first stage of middle game, let's say early stage of middle game, and let's say you just finish your opening, for instance, you should take your time. If you're not really familiar with plans, you have to take your time by figuring out your plan. Because playing the game, just because making a moves. It will make it the same player as a player outside on the street, because those players also knew how to make up moves. They also knew how to move with pieces. But we are professionals. That's why every time when moment comes for the game, you must understand that moment and simply choose a plan. Playing without plan, it's the biggest mistake. Choose the plan. If you made the wrong plan, choose the wrong plan and lost your game, then come back home and try to analyze and try to understand what your mistake was. But in general, I give all advice to all of you guys: play with plans. So in this situation, my plan was very simple. I have to create pressure on b5 pawn, make sure the guy, b5 pawn will either take my pawn or push forward. If I can shut down the queen side and basically have my hands free, then it was easy for me to play my game, because if I will secure my queen side, then I can switch back to attack my king side by preparing f4, for instance. But first step is first, so make sure the queen side is locked down. And by the way, don't forget, we have a knight on a5, which is not working well. So that's the idea of playing queen e3. And now, this is the typical mistake I told after the game to Tatev. This is the typical mistake of what's happening to her here. HG. So we call this tension, right? And in fact, if you look at the Stainis theory, he always said, try to keep attention as long as possible, because keeping attention always bothers your opponent. So always makes your moves annoying. So this is the typical mistake. By not providing this move as early as happening in a game, she could keep pressure. I would say the best move here was to play knight g4, just to make sure it's kind of bothers me still. You know, I don't mind if white. It's nothing happening bad for white, but I'm saying that move was supposed to be done from black, or maybe to play, let's say, queen e7, making sure that eventually black will play b4 and then start to do typical routine for black from black knight. So that's how she's supposed to play here. After hg, maybe she expects from me to take hg and then have this typical stuffs going on, but she missed, I believe she missed, my response fg. Unusual response, but very strong response, because it opens f file, it opens jump on my rook, it's actually securing the king side and kind of killing the idea of playing f5. So after fg, now the problem is not h6 too much, because f5 is in general wrong idea. In fact, I can consider to play here g4. So she pulled back not f6, and now my pieces. This is another strong move. Why here? Because maybe I'm thinking about to play g4, and I want to make sure I protect these two squares with my knight. And also important part, I am preparing create another pressure on the queen side. So try to tie the queen of not being here, for instance, because this guy is still here. And finally, I forced black to play b4, which I was happy. Now my queen side now it's a shutdown, which is good for me. Now I can get back to play bishop b2. And this is the idea which I saw before. This is the idea because it has been missed by my opponent. What's going on here? She probably missed a situation. She can't really hold f4 square because this sacrifice will kill her. Now this guy is out, I call this guy as a donkey. So this guy's out, and next step will be simply knight e4. All these squares are weak, plus we have these mating situations here, so just collapsing. So unfortunately, black cannot really hold f4 square, so they can't play here knight f4. The only move here, queen g5. Another strong move from bd1. Why strong move? Because that's the way how I'm going to simply protect my knight. And it's forced, again, pretty much forced black to play queen e3 check. And after this, I made another move to provoke black to play knight f4. I actually played here king h2. Because again, it's funny, if black plays here knight f4, same problem, because I'll take and I'll take. Even it's not kind of middle game because queen is gone from the board, but it's still lost because after e takes f4, e5, game is over. Game is over, and I don't know. I don't know. This is very very bad. All these pieces are just bad. I mean, she can't play here because bishop c7. She has to play something like that, and then this is just terrible. I mean, too many problems. Too many problems. That's just very bad. So she saw that kind of later, and that's why she missed a part, and she had to do basically pull back the pieces, and she did knight g7. And now the only move she made here, because you know what, since this moment she played actually only move to defend the position. Otherwise, she could collapse even earlier. This is the great move f5, the only move to survive. Otherwise, I could consider just simply squeeze her by playing bishop c1, trade the bishops, then put this guy on g3, and it's going to be just simply killed step by step. And she made right move f5, trying to free herself. Now, this is the problem. The only move. So far, we have in this forced territory, forced moves here. Now, the only move again, bishop d7 to protect f8 square. And that's the key move here at this point. And rook and bishop c1. Again, I need to get rid of the bishop on e3 for many reasons. First of all, the bishop on e3 is the best piece from her side. And secondly, one of the strategy of playing against the bad piece is simply eliminate the rest of the pieces. Because if that piece has a teammate, then it could be improved, could be okay. But if bad piece has no teammates, then it's dangerous. So bishop c1, it's important move here. Again, it's a structural thinking because by understanding what you have to do. Now I must keep this file, obviously, and yeah, here she made actually very nice trick. She made the move g3 check, which is my applause for that move, because idea of getting the square in case if I take this free pawn, then after check and jumping on f4, I would say black would simply solve the problem because they will have a great compensation for the pawn, and this guy will be disconnected from main forces. This guy is weak because we have target, and I think black is fine. So this is very nice source for black here, g3 check. I really like it, but king g1, and now we still have a problem with this square and that square. So the only move for black to make rook e8, and now rook f7. Now rook f7. Now we have a problem because again she's trying to get back and try to play knight b7 and half move away to play knight d8. But I have here very strong move knight f5. And here, so we deal with two bad knights, and that's another key moment to explain you. Yeah, here I believe I spent quite some time to again to understand my position, because I made, let's say, a couple moves autopilot. Let's say I knew what to do. Let's say, for instance, a move like a bishop c1 was for me kind of easy move to find. But at this point, since I have choices, let's say I have a choice to play rook d6, I have a choice to play f6, I have a choice to play bishop e4. Many choices, and it's tough. But one thing, after quite some thinking, I understood for myself. If I try to keep some material, for instance, keep this pawn and maybe win one of these pawns, But black pieces will going to get activated. Let's say they're going to get active. Let's say if I play here, she has here. If I take, I mean, I don't know. Let's say check. I mean, another 7, and then all this sudden black pieces getting some job. You know, like all these jumps, all these jumps. So I figured out even having like extra material, but I could still give some kind of chance, some hopes for my opponent to get activated, or even she could try, let's say, to play. Yeah, I think that's the way how I was wondering, and that's why I found, I think, the nicest way to handle this position. I found this. In this situation, after she played knight d8 and I mean king g8, I found this. I said, okay, I have to bring my knight because this is the threat, right? So she has to take, and then bishop e4. Now the problem is what to do with this guy, because where to go? It's not that easy to find the right squares. Obviously, she went here, kind of most logical move, but then knight g3, and now this guy is here, stands very nice, but productivity 0, because there is nothing to do. He can't support attack. There is nothing to do with this side. He's away from that square and that square, and this guy's still there. Besides, now my 3 pieces could simply attack the king, because it's going to be kind of mating situations. And I have a passer who goes straight. So I think this is the nicest way and easiest way to handle this position. After knight g3 and h4, and look at the knight. He's still restricted. He still struggled, because he will struggle here, and now he struggled here, because he doesn't have any access, and that's it. So he's still pretty much done. King g7, and now again, being patient, it's another lesson for the endgame. Simply improve your position. By the way, when you're dealing with knights, make sure your knight will not have access to make a check to you. So king g2. So we're not going to trade the rooks. And now h5. Well, we have a pin and we have this threat. King f6. Free pawn. So still knight tight. He can't really jump because this guy hanging. So only move king e7. Well, I thought it's better for me to have my rook on e7 first impression, but then I figured out no, the right way for me still to have my rook on h6, because when king on e7, I have this move, and now my king comes closer, and pretty much game is over, because that's the move I expected. The idea to make a check, and now the difference is I have bishop g6 move, which just kills the game, because she can't take the knight since I have a check. And game is over. And if she did, let's say, what happening in the game, check, then I have king g4. And then the problem is she can't take it here because it's this. I think it's just hg. It's over. So she made a check. I went here. And she resigned, because I expect move knight h6 check, and then king g5, and then let's say last check, and then king h4, and finished. Because if she gets back on here, I have a check. She can go here because a mate. So what she does, she has to pull back on back rank and simply losing the game. Let's say here. And finished. So again, I think the game is very interesting. Like I said, it's a really positional game. It's teaching you about how to build yourself, how to think structurally in a game. It's about tension. It's about that piece on a5. All this strategy stuff. I think you like it, and I hope it's going to be really helpful for you to understand chess better. Well, thank you, and I'll see you in our next time. Bye.